It's alright, it's alright. Why do the Burns never mention their mom? Hi! Today we are trying to figure out who the Burns mom is. We'll use what we can to find out who she was, and what happened to her. Jay will put up some fan art of how she may have looked at the end of the video. We know the Burns kids aren't adopted because they share obvious genetic traits with Chief Burns' ancestors. If the ancestors we see, none of them have either red or blonde hair, which makes us think that those come from the mother's side. Fiction generally ignores the very specific rules of redhead genetics. We gather from the episode Double Villainy that she's dead and has been for quite some time. It's a bit vague, clunky, and played off more like it's a missing persons case, but it's there.
I'm worried that the bots are in serious trouble.
My dad can help. We'll track down the bots, Cody. Promise.
Thanks, Frankie. It's just like losing part of my family, you know?
Yeah, I do.
Cody gives the impression that he's lost someone before. Frankie, who also lost her mom at a young age, empathizes with him, reinforcing this idea. Their mom is never mentioned throughout the show, and we never see any pictures of her. Death also seems to be a touchier subject for them in general. In the episode Family Business, Chief Burns is caught under a collapsing building and is taken to the hospital. As the kids are waiting around, Cade is outright scared. It's not unusual to be scared when a parent's in the hospital, but Cade knows that if he doesn't make it, then everything that comes next is going to be on his shoulders. A responsibility that would fall to his mom if she were there, and he knows he's not ready for that. Another sign is that she's likely dead is how Chief Burns responds to a woman being romantically interested in him. Shock, interest, defensive towards anyone questioning his crush like he's an embarrassed child. He doesn't even try to shut her down. The kids are confused as Chief Burns doesn't explain himself when he leaves with his new girlfriend. He also has no ring for her to point out and apologize for liking him. The fact that the kids have no issue with this later means that it was never an issue to begin with. Children whose parents are divorced tend to reject any potential replacements, acting more wary or anxious towards them, especially in an emotionally unstable environment. Cody, as the youngest, would probably have been the most skeptical, as he would have been the most reliant on their dad and possibly have the most difficulty letting someone new take his limited attention. In the majority of divorces, mothers get full custody of the property and kids unless she's proven to be abusive or mentally unstable. Considering the kid's behavior, that doesn't appear to be the case. We'll start with what she was. A mom, obviously. But besides that, we suspect that she was a military pilot and the first Earth liaison that the Autobots had. Hear us out. We think she was in the military because in Transformers Prime, the Autobots are working with the US military. Had she been a civilian, it would be unlikely she would have even met Optimus.
Agent Fowler, have you uncovered mech agents?
No, they're okay. General Bryce here just needs to confirm the state of your health and welfare.
I am fine, General Bryce.
The kids in Prime only met them because they were living in a small town near the secret base, whereas Griffin Rock is a small island over 3,000 miles away. Autobots tend to make the first humans they befriend their liaisons to Earth. The military setup wouldn't have happened so quickly if she had been a civilian. As she was already on the military's roster and came from a tech-testing island, she would be the military's first choice in handling them. We also see in Prime that the military does not want civilian involvement. There is also military tech being tested on the island, and Danny becomes a military test pilot later on despite her not being a military officer. Because of this, Optimus was able to make the deal with her and Chief Burns about training rescue bots on the island, planting signal blockers to protect them from Decepticons. We never see the signal blockers on the show, but we know that they're there because the rescue bots have haven't been detected. Ever. It also explains to why their ground bridge looks the way it does. So it can pass through the blockers without warping. And why Optimus and Bumblebee don't come by ground bridge until the rescue bots build theirs. Why we think she's a pilot. Our evidence comes from both Danny and Agent Fowler. Fowler's main mode of transportation is a jet, specifically a jet modified by the Autobots to be both safer and more comfortable. Fowler is the wrong shape for his mode of transportation, so it was more likely to be given to him by the Autobots. Them having a jet just lying around from a previous liaison makes sense if she was a pilot. It keeps her memory alive, makes use of an item, an item they happen to have, and lets Fowler join the fight while minimizing his potential death. Fowler is shown to be more of a desk jockey. Danny, on the other hand, seems to have an obsession with flying. In the alternate timeline episode, she's shown having a dislike of flying, or even outright fear. In that, her mom is dead before Cody is ever born.
A third brother? I have enough of those already, thanks.
In the original timeline, she loves flying and has no fear of it, because her mom helped her through it after Cody was born. Danny even does tricks that only a military or stunt pilot could pull off. Most of her flying skills aren't made for rescues. It's highly possible that she died while flying. It mentioned in the first episode of Prime that the Decepticons hadn't been on Earth in 3 years.
The first Decepticon activity in 3 years.
We suspect that she tried to fight off the Decepticons, but was shot down, the military replacing her with Fowler soon after. Cody doesn't seem to remember her all that well. Children's permanent long-term memories tend to form around 5 years old, so that's more than likely how old Cody was when she died. Cody is 10 at the beginning of the show, so it would stand to reason she died 5 years prior, which fits neatly into the Prime timeline. In the racing episode of Prime, Optimus left for a special mission that lasted several days. This lines up with his appearances in Rescue Bots Season 2, Episode 10 and 11. Considering Optimus never had a reason to use his Dino mode in Prime and ended up having to get an entire new mode after being repaired by the Hammer of Souls Prime, neither show contradicts the other. So her mom's death fits very nicely. In Robots in Disguise, B explained in an episode that Nevada wasn't their first base. Their first base likely being the one she worked at. And considering Bumblebee got videotaped during doing 80s exercises with the ridiculous bands on, and none of the bots can handle a camera, their mom was the only one who talked him into it and filmed him.
We now interrupt this wonderful program to give you an ad. This business was started by a homeless man, and he is now using the money to help other homeless people out of poverty. On his site, he sells products that he puts QR codes on that take you to other small businesses. So, curious on what the little guy's selling or want to do your part helping the homeless? Just go to bonfire.com/store/live to inspire/ or click the link in the description. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program.
And last, we're given quite a few hints of what she was like. Being fearless is the most obvious. In the alternate timeline, Morocco made it very clear that he killed everyone who's gotten in his way, explaining why she isn't there. She loved movies and passed that on to Cade, especially the Maven Danger series and old monster films.
I knew we could count on our fellow humunga dorks. Track down this new print in no time. They threw in the sequels for nothing. The Maven Danger Junior Ranger briefcase. Check it. Spy goggles, invisible ink, the shoe camera. It was my favorite.
He seems happiest when he's watching them. Cade likely got his love of them from her, as this is how she spent time with him, and it makes him feel closer to her now that she's gone. She passed on her love of myths, fairy tales, and folklore to Cody, as that's the majority of the stories the Byrnes own. They also have an old noir films, detective stories, and medical information books, which only Chase reads and watches. Their dad doesn't care about any of these. She also has an interest in taking pictures, explaining why she isn't in any of them. Chief Byrnes only ever took one picture in the show, and it was literally of him telling his kids the truth about the bots, catching the moment of betrayal. Now they're reminded about how he lied to them every time they look at it. She also liked to film, given she filmed Bumblebee and taught Cade how to film. She was very smart. She knew how to introduce Optimus to Chief Byrnes and getting this project off the ground, unlike her husband, who almost sabotaged the whole thing in the first episode.
Hey, I didn't tell it to do that.
It's new technology, son. Bound to be some bugs.
Oh, come on, faster! We're being outrun by a bulldozer.
I do not understand.
Not so slow.
Fly low. Understood.
We need to move the planters to create a fire block.
But that will destroy the harmonious nature of the plaza's design.
What?
I didn't tell it to do that.
I wouldn't complain.
Your robot was still in rescue mode. You gave him the directive to save lives, so he did.
You're welcome, Graham.
Optimus or no Optimus, I don't know how long I can put up with this. Ordered around, others taking the credit, having to pretend we're tin cans. I'm leaving.
Being an open well of information, Optimus would ask her lots of questions. Unlike Fowler, who stumbles through explanations or doesn't explain himself at all.
So don't forget to pack your kilts.
What's a kilt? Agent Fowler can at times be oblique. I find it best to simply nod and mobilize.
This is something Cade and Graham picked up from her. Danny and Cody take more after their dad, explaining to why Chase and Blades barely know anything by the 4th season, but Heatwave and Boulder are almost experts. She also has a sense of humor that she more than likely taught RC. Neither Fowler nor any of the other bots make these kinds makes the kind of jokes that she does, which are very human, military / cop type jokes.
See you soon, buddy. I'll make sure you get a proper welcome.
So who's the boyfriend?
I thought there were 2.
Haven't you heard? Humans multiply. Are you sure a nice long drive wouldn't help? I hear Miami's beautiful this time of year.
We also wouldn't be surprised if she was the one with the dirty mouth, something Cade had to be trained out of.
Heatwave, I know you can hear me. Get over here, you pile of...
Cade, that won't help.
Hello? Heatwave, can you hear me? It would be so nice if you could drop by, you pile of...
Cade!
Chief Burns would have been embarrassed wearing Beach Babe and hunk aprons. They were likely a gag gift from Woodrow or something she bought because she found it funny. She also has mechanical know-how, as the older children have mechanic skills that Chief Burns doesn't. Cody has none of these skills as he was too young to safely handle large tools when she died. She also likes sports, baseball and football specifically, with Cade as he keeps those trophies in his room, unlike the soccer trophies that sit on the public trophy shelf. They are likely the few games she got to see, making them worth more to Cade. 2 sports he chose to play. Gymnastics was likely another thing she liked, given that she was there pregnant with Cody to help Cade with it.
Remember me in gymnastics? Hey! I don't like leotards, okay?
With Danny, she would watch race cars driving, feeding both their adrenaline junkie natures. Graham, she likely encouraged his scientific pursuits. Chief Burns only cares about soccer, basketball, fishing, and the Boy Scouts. Cody loves these things, given Chief Burns had the full influence over him. Graham openly hated being a lad pioneer, and Danny was the greatest at soccer and is the second favorite child. Cade sees soccer as something to gain their father's affection. She was loving. When Cody failed soccer, both he and Cade acted like he had failed the most important thing. But when Cody turned out to be really good at baseball, Cade became super encouraging. Graham tried to comfort Cody the same way a mom would have comforted him, most likely having gotten those same encouraging words from her.
Cody, don't feel bad. You're good at lots of other things.
But nothing that counts.
Cade and Danny doing the same when their dad is in the hospital.
Don't worry, Cody. He'll be fine.
I wish I tested the building's structure more thoroughly.
It's not your fault, bro.
Versus how their dad comforts them.
Look, I know we're all adjusting to being a team, learning about each other, but it'll go a lot smoother if we work together.
You know, where's Dad? What's he say about this?
Hey, you know, Dad. He wants us to work this out ourselves.
The older children have a number of insecurities, likely caused by their mom being physically unavailable and Chief Burns being emotionally unavailable. She likely helped her kids through their insecurities, but as she wasn't home very often, most of those insecurities went unchecked and worsened after her death. Danny is insecure, Cade is defensive, and Graham has anxiety. Cody is forced to be the peacemaker of the family because Chief Burns isn't. Cody feels ignored and lonely and therefore tries to connect with the bots as much as possible. It's noticeable throughout the show that Chief Burns doesn't wear a ring. Most widowers keep their rings because they don't want to forget. We also never see any pictures of her, like she never existed. As soon as she died, their dad tried to make her memory disappear, likely more out of wanting to avoid grief than anything. Never once do we see any of the Burns cry. Kate does get close, though. The bots, mainly Blades, are the only ones who shed any tears in the show. One reason for not showing evidence of the mom in the show from the writers/director's view could be so they don't have to explain death to the intended audience and keep the friendly tone of the show. Going with the absent mom trope instead of making her a soldier that visits once in a while, adding another dynamic to the show. We suspect that either her family moved there when she was little or she was stationed nearby at one point. Cade being the only redhead on the island is our main proof that her family is not from the island. There also seems to be an issue with a dwindling population. There's very few available women over the age of 18, one of whom is Danny. It's possible that because the bots are never shown images of Mrs. Burns, they don't know if she even existed, which is a topic that should have been explored. And on that melancholy note, that's what we got. Bye! Here's the fan art. Comment, like, and subscribe. Don't be rude or mean. Bye!
I only got you in my stories, and you know I tell them right. I remember you and I when I'm awake at night. So give it up for fallen glory. I never got to say goodbye. I wish I could ask for just a bit more time.